Hello there, Ringside Crew.
Hey dudes at Ringside Crew, this is Davian.
Hey, it's Jenny Santana here.
This is Alfie.
This is the Savage Juggernaut, Tamaku.
Inside Ring!
This is Thomas D. Bruff.
This is Billy Starks.
Mr. Chad Epic.
Megan Mason.
Hey everybody, Scotland's own Brody Adler.
The headliner in charge, Marco Mania.
This is your girl Charisma.
Papa Dink, Brendan Dicker.
This is According to Woods.
Savannah Summers.
I'm Shorty.
Tasman inside.
You are watching
The internationally known
Dudes at Ringside podcast, hosted by Metal Geek and Joe the Panther Jr.
Hello there, wrestling fans! And why am I really small? And welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther the Third. And from the top of Metal Mountain, all the way down to all 50 states and the globe, it's the Happy Heel himself, the Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Joe? How's it going today?
I'm good. So, do I have to smack you and tell you get my girl's name out of your mouth?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to add another face to the lovely referee wall. Because let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to referee Gina.
Oh, okay, there I am.
There
I got to say, I like your video package at the beginning. I was very happy to see
Thank
Davey.
you. A lot of people like it. We try to keep a
Davey
general.
and she's awesome.
We try to keep a general intro. You know what I mean? Like something like where a lot of people.
All these accents, all these different people, because that's what it is. We are internationally known, so you don't want to just see normal people. Hey,
it like pops up. Okay, this is going to be.
That's one of our. Harley is one of our regulars. She always comes in our chat. We got her from another wrestler that comes from Pennsylvania, and Adina Steele came on the podcast, and then Harley became one of our biggest fans. And she's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So cool.
Well, hey Harley, that was cool.
Yeah, but anyway, about that video package, I feel bad because I'm trying to put everyone of our guests in the video. But it's just so hard because
it's hard, especially since you have a lot of people on here. But that was fun.
I don't want to insult anybody. And if
it'll be half the show. It'll be like, did it. Okay, guys, gotta go. See you later.
Yeah. if I insult anybody,
we have time for one question. Well, that's all the time we got for today.
I know.
If I insulted anybody by not putting them in the video package, I deeply apologize. I'm sorry.
I'll let him kick your ass. Don't worry about it. I'll just be like, Dudes at Ringside, I'm not part of this show.
It's just acting geek right off the poster. Gina,
if our fans aren't familiar with you, introduce yourself.
I am a referee, so all I really do is just yell at people and count numbers. So yeah, I don't know. Like that's just the simplest thing.
Dancing cat, yeah.
So I come from Connecticut, currently reside in Central Florida. Then I'm going to be based out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, between May 1st and the last week of June. So I was trained by Slick Wagner Brown at Test of Strength in Hartford, Connecticut. Or East Hartford, one of those Hartfords, and just worked there for a while. I did stuff in Shikara during like the last season, the last Cibernetico. Worked at Beyond a few times too. Had lots of fun there, among other really fun things in the area. Lots of Connecticut places. Now I, for the most part, just do a lot of stuff at IWTV, and I actually am going to be working my first WWN show on Friday, which is out of Port Richey, Florida. So we're going to give that a shot. Have I ever came up to Pennsylvania? I came up to Pennsylvania in, I think like around like the pandemic to do taping. So the Cassandro Cup, which has been streaming on IWTV a bit afterwards, like when we filmed it, it was in Pennsylvania in February. And then when Can't Believe Frog was still a promotion, we did stuff there too. That's it, though. And Shikara in Philadelphia. I almost died in the snow getting there. So
you have
very interesting roads in Pennsylvania. I went up to Pennsylvania also recently to do Combat Fights Unlimited, but it was like during the storm. So I was very lovely acquainted with the snow again. So that's my Pennsylvania experience.
Not so pleasant right there.
If you ever get a chance to come back to PA, we have a really nice promotion, PPW.
PPW, okay. Yeah, I think
lots of hills.
Okay, yeah, I think I know about that one. I know, like, I've been trying to get to Let's Hang Out. Sometimes Pizza Party does some stuff in, like, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, but I was, like, in Connecticut, so that's like Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey type of area.
Yeah, I've heard of Pizza Party Wrestling.
I'm jealous. We should hang out with them, geek.
We should hang out with
get them on the fuck. Yeah.
Oh, hello, Kat. All right, bye. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, anyway, so it's such an honor to be trained by Slick Wagner Brown, having someone being trained by Slick Wagner Brown.
Oh, Slick is someone who laughs, and when he laughs, you just have to laugh with him. He was very good at keeping people accountable, but when I was training with him, he wanted me to wrestle first, and I was just like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I'm like, this is awful. I really don't like taking bumps and stuff. But even when you trained as like a non-physical role, you still had to do things like that. He was a Kowalski guy, so there were particular things that you had to learn as a Kowalski student, like how to get out of a ring safely. A lot of people get hurt if they don't know how to do it correctly. And you really only need to know like a couple of things as a ref. So, but yeah, I liked it a lot. I thought that he had a really good class there. They're doing pretty well at Wrestling Open, which streams on IWTV on Thursdays, I think starting around 8 o'clock. And he has some students like Sammy Diaz, Elijah Six, and Ichiban who go there. And I think they recently did some stuff for Let's Wrestle that's up in Maine. So he has really good students. I think I was like really the only referee that came out of that school. But he trained Eddie Edwards, he trained Sumi Sakai, and I did a show recently up there with Sumi. So it was really nice to, see the tutelage like kind of being passed down. So I guess that's what I got to say about that.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. But anyway, what would you say the toughest match you had to call is?
That was the IWTV 100 match because it was like 90 degrees in the building.
Oh, geez.
It went 60 minutes. It was against it was Wheeler Yuta against Daniel Garcia for the IWTV championship, which was deemed the world title that same night. So I was nervous about it because I was expected that they were going to go long. Yuta, when he was champion, used to have like really, really long matches. And I was like, all right, maybe it could like last like 30 minutes before the sweat would pour. But like even just waiting to get through the announcements, I was already like dripping.
Oh, geez.
So that was really hard. They're also very intense, very catch style. So they're pinning as much as possible. And, between the humidity and the heat and like everything that was going on, it was hard. I thought it was fun though. It was really fun, but it was hard.
Joe?
So is there like anywhere in the country or the world you would like to travel to referee at?
Travel referee. Well, I mean, I'm kind of focusing on the Tennessee area next, just because Uncharted Territory is going there next. Interesting because I never really thought that it would leave Worcester, Massachusetts, but here we are. So, I'm getting acquainted with that area. And the nice part about Chattanooga is like kind of like in a corner. So you got Chattanooga, then Alabama, and Georgia. So I'll be in Georgia. I guess like the West Coast, we were talking before the show was going, and like Geek was saying that he wanted to go to the West Coast, and that would be interesting. Mostly because I think I want to see it too. But yeah, I think it's interesting out there. It looks like they, a lot of East Coast people from the North also went out there too. So it'd be nice to see how they have blossomed over there. And I just want to see a PWE show. Sorry,
that's something I want to do too.
It seems nuts. One of the referees who was at Battle Los Angeles this year, named Frank, I met him down here, like I think a couple weeks when it was when we were doing Fest in Gainesville. And he's a zany character. I love Frank, and he was telling me that it was really nuts.
When they come for WrestleMania weekend to California, they needed to put PWG on there somewhere.
I would imagine so. Also like New Japan's out there. And another thing too is like, I think like California itself, like just being such like a huge
they have Lucha Underground.
Yeah, but I'm sure that they'll put them out there.
Definitely, because PWG is like a staple in California. It's like they don't put their shows online, which is a crime right there. And I'm like, how do the fans get to see it? And it's like, only way to see it is to buy the tickets to the show, and that's it.
Their Twitter is very minimal too, which I think is very funny. They're like, all right, this person's going to be the entrant in the next Battle Los Angeles. And I'm like, okay, that's the news. It's over. But I would like to see it. And it was funny because I was having a conversation with Shug Dunkerton about this the other day. Like, you kind of have to like think about sometimes when you take bookings too, especially when you get to a point where you are available to choose. Like, good attendance is great, but if you don't have the ability to watch the show or stream it, then it doesn't. I think you have to have like both or a balance of it to make it work. But yeah, the online presence, I agree, needs to be there.
It has to be.
Watch it. I really would.
They're very old school with their VHS tapes. You know what I mean?
That's good. That could be charming in its own way, I suppose. But yeah, I thoroughly think that like streaming stuff is like the way to go, or at least like get it out there for video on demand.
I mean, Super Dragon, right? That's the one. He's very old school, I heard. So like it goes a certain way.
You probably know more than I, but it sounds familiar. I have one friend who is like very into video trading, and that's how I actually watched Chikara, was like through his like tapes. I don't think I've ever been to like a live show as a fan except like twice in my whole life. And that was when they came to Connecticut or did like a double header with a local promotion there.
Yeah.
The tapes are important. Streaming is nice though.
Yeah, I remember me and Joe back in the day. We used to go to Ring of Honor shows and we used to buy the DVDs.
I would have to drag you away from the table.
I used to buy 4 at a time or something like that.
I want to see any tapes, and I'm like, okay, you can look at your tapes. We know you have like 10,000 in your room in a box.
Yeah, but there was no streaming back then, so you couldn't. There was no way to physically watch the Ring of Honor shows unless you bought the tapes.
Gina, if you saw the box of tapes he had in his room, you would have thought he was a hoarder. He had like every tape. So
I think that we all convert to hoarderism whenever we feel passionate about something we want to collect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't really around during like when I got into indie wrestling, it wasn't around like the tape trading time. So that's like an era that I missed out on. Well, it was kind of like coming out of that into, even just like thinking now that some promotions like they stream on Twitch is kind of a weird concept to me. And like, I really shouldn't think that because Twitch has been a service around for, a while, but I digress. The streaming is great. It's the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like there's a lot of promotions that stream on Twitch, and I'm like, I go up to their promoter and say, this is great that you guys have your shows on Twitch, because now I don't know any of your roster, and now I'm starting to learn every single one of them.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely have gotten to, like when I was up north, I didn't really know what was available in the southern states before I moved here, until I started watching Southern Action Pro in Tennessee, Action in Georgia, and also even New South in Alabama. And New South does very well. And you said they had someone from All South Town on here once before. Like I wouldn't like watch like all these like places if I didn't have a central place that they have like integrated all these different promotions. So I don't know. I like IWTV. I use my subscription pretty well because I like to watch things from different areas. So, and I also like miss some of the wrestling up north when I'm not there. So it's nice to like keep up with Beyond, for example. That's like one of my love letter type of.
Beyond's great, by the way. So,
I used to go to FET in Rhode Island. Not like every show, but a good amount. And to see like how it went from a warehouse or like a garage or something in Ohio. And Hardcam was like this guy who sat up in this really tall ladder with like a camera. During the pandemic, IWTV was streaming like those really old episodes. And it's like, wow, like how far that they've been. And like they even like did American Rana at like Foxwoods Casino. Like that was really huge. That was big to see it like grow like that.
Yeah, those shows in New England are awesome. You know?
Yeah, I miss them. It's a little bit different now. Like it's much more fast paced than I remember. Like when I was up there for Restival in January, and I did one match on uncharted territory when it was in Worcester. I'm like, oh my god! Like, were they like this fast before? Like, I don't really remember it being like this. But I digress. Like, Beyond is going to be like one of those companies I always loved because I was like a big fan of it. And I'm glad that they're, going back to like the regular monthly shows. They went back to FET recently. That was pretty cool. It's like, I wish I could go back to that venue. It was really nice.
It's a couple new ones out there. There's Outlaw with the Bull James promotion.
Yeah, Outlaw. So one of my friends, a CPA, he did an Outlaw show. Like, I think this was 2017, and he had to like shave his head or something. If like the stipulation was like he lost the match, and that looked like a wild place. Like they had like a violinist or like someone with a cello come out at one point and play. Like, yeah, they did. I don't remember the show in particular, but yeah, that was Outlaw. I never done a match of Bull James, but I've seen him around before, and he's always like telling me like, well, if you're in New York again, let me know. And yeah, it looks like a really wild place.
Cellist comes out.
Someone came out with I think it's a cello. And I think if I remember correctly, the whole thing was there was someone's entrance music that like annoyed somebody, and then like she kind of like did this like nice little solo and then went right into like the song. And I don't think I've ever seen anyone with a cello come out at a indie show before, but nonetheless, I give it to Bull James. I'm like, I've never seen that before.
That's different. Indies.
Something Nakamura would come out to, like the violin.
Yeah.
When he came out at TakeOver with the violin, the violinist at Brooklyn. Same idea.
Yeah. So if you want to tell some of your stories, go ahead. The stage is yours.
Stories. Like I know like a lot of people typically say that they have like really crazy travel stories, and like lots of like crazy like banter that's like kind of going on. I kind of like keep it straight. Like when I'm doing like referee stuff, usually I'm someone who's like helping, bring in the ring and things like that. And then, we have to kind of like shuffle around and make sure that like when we're looking at all the matches, like, what's the time limit that we're going to give like on all of these, it's really like nothing too crazy. So I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just don't like have like a lot of insane stories. Wrestlers typically do because they have, I don't know. They have like a type of camaraderie with each other that's a little bit different than, at least like my experience with referees. But, it's fun. I enjoy doing it. I think that to foster the relationships that I had with people is probably like, more unique than I could probably achieve in real life somewhere, in that dark corner of the world. So it's I felt like since starting wrestling and actually seeing myself because I always thought that when I started, especially with Slick, the cat might make a guest appearance again. I was just like, maybe I could just do, like 2 shows a month or something. And, that didn't happen at the time. So yeah, I think that everything like went pretty well. I think like the time that I felt most like awestruck was when I did Please Come Back for Beyond at Patriots Place near Gillette Stadium. That was a very, very big crowd. And sadly, that was like one of the last shows that I did before the pandemic. But now we're kind of like getting out of it. So
yeah, there's a promotion in Long Island that's actually picking up steam. I don't know if you're familiar with Victory Pro Wrestling.
Yes, yeah, I do know Victory Pro. VSK is like one of my favorite
He's awesome.
people from that area. He's very good. He's very good at being innovative. He's I did a match once okay, I guess I do have a story. I did a match at Blitzkrieg when they had like 2 different venues that they do. That's one promotion I really miss working at. One would be at like the Moose Lodge that was in Massachusetts, and it's more of a closed one. Like they don't stream it. They don't really videotape it much because it's like a bar wrestling. People, go drinking. And he Jeremy Leary, who runs that promotion, like he's always very encouraging for me to interact with the audience because they want to be interacted with there. Versus the other shows over at the Enfield Banquet Hall, that it's a little bit different. So Manders had a match with VSK. And VSK does this like thing during his comeback where he like hits a rope down the center, down through the middle rather, and then out to the other side. And every time I'm in a match with him, he always tells me to move or almost bump into him because I don't know where he wants me to stand. But yeah, he's very good. For some reason, they were drinking beer and then they gave me one and I never had Pabst Blue Ribbon before. Like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to take a drip of this beer. So, because all the fans were telling me to do, I'm like, this is disgusting. But I had pretentious smiles like, oh, this is good. Oh God, it's like burning my teeth out. So thank you VSK for letting me drink my first, Blue Ribbon. It was awful. But yeah, he did a lot of stuff at Victory Pro. I think that's where he started out. And yeah, I think John is running it now.
Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny's doing really good. Yeah, they kind of took a dip for a bit, and I'm glad that it's actually doing quite well. And did Eric James come for there too, or was he?
Yes, yeah, he came from
he
there.
Did? Okay, yeah. I saw a really, really old. I don't know which thing it was in Jersey, but it was.
I missed the tips too.
VSK, Eric James, Matt Reefer was in it. There was 2 other people, and they also was Bandito Jr. back before he started being a ref at WWE, who did a ladder match, and it's almost you can't even recognize them at all. I wish I remember what the name of that promotion was, but that was a sight to behold. But yeah, I'm glad that they're going. Victory Pro is doing very well because I never got the chance to work for them, but I get excited whenever they post our matches are coming up. Oh yay, that's exciting.
Yeah, they've been picking up steam ever since the pandemic.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, New York was. Oh geez, yeah, I never worked for Cap, and I really wanted to, but I know a good amount of people from there. And I did one thing in the Bronx once, and that was a terrifying drive to get in there because you have to take this one exit where you risk it all by going off the highway. But yeah, that was a good time. Do you watch Chaotic? Do you keep up with them?
I would try to keep up with them, but it's kind of hard though. But from the clips we've seen on the internet, they're doing some good stuff over there.
Yeah. Davey Ann was champion, and she lost it, and I told her I feel very sad about it. I was very excited to see that she won the championship because she's a very hardworking individual.
She deserves it.
Yes, yeah, I completely agree. She's a very lovely person. I was very happy to see her in the beginning for your
video package. And Kathleen. Oh my gosh.
Oh, little mean Kathleen?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the first time I met her was at this show called Wrestle Party in Providence. And that was a fun place to work. Sully Banger ran that one. And it's a very, very inclusive type of place. But the matches were wacky. So there was a tag match that was with Middlesex Express and the Ugly Ducklings. They drove all the way from South Carolina or whatever they were from to do that tag match there. And in the middle of the match, after I got kicked in the face, I rolled out and then they started playing the Mentos song. and these ninjas came out and started like, and Kathleen was one of the ninjas. I think Becca was one of the ninjas too, because they used to help out at that place all the time. Kathleen used to actually do like, she used to be in charge of like the ring for Top Rope. And that was a really tough ring to do because like it was just like positioned. A lot of the pieces were very different. So she worked incredibly hard to get to where she is. And now she's like so amusing.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Her and Teddy are a very fun team. She just screams and like, you know, she knows what to do. She's
I was telling people, like, people that don't know her, I was telling people like, Kathleen doesn't have to do much to get the crowd smiling. She just stomps her feet and claps her hands, and the crowd just like, it's like,
yeah. I don't know her too well, but during that time when she was like first starting out, and like we would, you know, do those Providence shows, like it does like seem like authentically her. She just always had a very fun personality. So I'm glad that she's doing really well. You know, and Becca's, I think she's back now. She had like a broken arm or something.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I thought it was kayfabe. I'm like, did she really break her arm?
She did. I think she did. Or maybe she sprained it. Maybe that's why it didn't take too long to, but yeah, I remember like I was following her stuff when she was in England, and I think she came home early because she sprained it. And I'm like, that really sucks because, you know, she went all the way out there for her tour.
But she's a heel now. She's like, you know why? Because I'm Becca and I'm strong. That's why I heal me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That seems like her.
Yeah.
Well, me and Kathleen starting to make our way towards New York, which is cool.
That's good. Yeah. She's also like studying to be like a lawyer, I think, too. Like it's really, it must be so hard for her. I never had to like go through like intensive school like that while trying to wrestle. But yeah, she's doing really good for herself. So Wrestling Open, you could watch her.
Yeah, $10.
Yeah, $10 a month. Yeah.
Oh no, wait, $10 a week.
Yeah, we
you go up there.
Yeah, I'm saying if it's $10 a week.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying if you go up there, it's $10. I'm like, that's like the cheapest wrestling show ever.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
We were freaking out when they were telling us. Somebody said it to us, and they were like,
I think it was Dante.
Dante's, you can go $10. Me and Geek were like, $10 for a ticket?
Yeah, and I think that they do a raffle for like a gas card now every week too.
Arlie, how much is a ticket for a PPW show? If you're still in the chat,
probably like $30.
$30 for a I've never PPW. That's when I told you about. I've been in this state now for 13 years. I've never been to PPW show because the only shows I really know of are NYWC, VPW. I know of PPW because Harley and the people that have been in that promotion. But
NYWC, I think, was like one of the best schools, and I'm glad that that it's like kind of like coming back. But the Alex Reynolds, I think, when he was on the Independents, was one of the best heels to work with, and I've done a few of his matches, and he's an intense guy. And it's so funny because like he really came from like a really good school. I think Johnny Silver trained up there as well, and then eventually they made their way down to Cap and started working there too. But yeah, NYWC, Trent Beretta came from there. Kip Stevens also came from there too. There's a very funny interview on the Year One podcast from Logan Black when he was doing those. He did that with Kip. He would talk about how like even if like Kip was really sad that he didn't do like a good job at training, Trent's like, oh, that sucks. You want to wrestle? Like he was just like so casual about like always wanting to train, but I just want to go on a side like that because NYWC, has really good history. So I'm glad you brought that up.
me and Geek, when I lived in Long Island, me and Geek went to our last July. Me and Geek went to our very first show in 13 years. We hadn't been to an NYWC show. It was an outdoor wrestling show, and it was about 90 degrees that day. Geek?
Like it was 90, but probably felt like 110 or something like that.
Yeah, and combined, we drank 20 bottles of water that day.
Probably 10 each.
10 each. That's why I said 20.
10 each. Okay. Yeah, I wish I had 20 bottles of water when I was I had to during the summer, but yeah, NYWC, like I feel like that sounds about right because there was a time where like there was like a low point or a hiatus from what I heard about, but then like they came back and
I think it was their first.
Maybe
show
not.
back.
I don't know.
I could have sworn that was their first show back, and literally it was hilarious. Geek looked like that meme of Key when he's lying and he's sweating.
Oh yeah.
That's what Geek looked. I'm like, Geek, get some water. No, I'm fine. And he's just like pouring sweat out of his forehead. I'm like,
he will pass out.
Geek, get up now. He's like, I don't want to miss a moment. I'm gonna go get water. I'll be right back.
There was a fan who once passed out at Joey Janela's spring break in Tampa.
Geez.
Oh my god, that was really crazy. That was a really big crowd. I think like I wasn't there for every show. I did like For the Culture, then I did spring break, but like the Bloodsport crowd I think was like the largest out of like that whole collective for that week. And yeah, like I was wondering like because it was like so hot, like are people gonna stay hydrated? And yeah, we had like one person unfortunately, but he was fine, and just needed to like time out for a bit. But yeah, that was certainly like a time, and staying hydrated is incredibly important for sure.
That's the one thing they should do at indie shows. I know it's going to sound kind of mean, but they should have water on call for the fans.
Yeah, I hear you because, especially if you're going to be in Florida, it's like, the warm season's like here now. And I know that sometimes like with WWN, like they have to run in like these places where it is like kind of outdoors, but there's like a roof. Because like there's no way that you could sit in like a room where it's like stuffy in Florida heat. It's not going to happen. I agree. Yeah. Well, let's see if we can make it happen.
I know these companies want to make money, but you guys could sell other things. You could sell soda. You could sell this. You could sell chips, hot dogs. But don't charge people for water. It's like a safety issue right there.
I think at Blitzkrieg they used to have free water at the banquet hall, and it was like a one of those jugs with like just take a cup and do that.
Okay. It's like how evil are these companies, to make $1 for water or something like that.
I think at that indie show, at that NYWC show, the water was $1.
It's $1. I'm like,
it's $1.
Yeah.
Like
I will say to find a water bottle that's $1 these days is probably a good price.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's still, if it's 110 degrees, Joe, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is it's 110 degrees. Should be a safety issue for the fans. What if one of the fans pass out during the middle of the show? What do they do now?
No, I'm saying because one has medical issues. You know what I mean? Like that could be dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they think they want to keep the fans safe and alive, then have a free case of water, like cases of water on the side. You want water, grab it and go.
Don't charge them $1 for water. That's like
if you want to buy a soda or a beer, got charged for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's obvious, but I'm saying water is like if it's 110 degrees, that's like a safety issue.
That's like the time I went to a Yankee game and it was so hot. Normally, they said on the radio, you're gonna get a free thing of water. They gave you a little shot glass of water when you walked into the stadium. I'm like, how is this going to keep?
I've been to that stadium, and it's like even parking is.
It was the old Yankee Stadium, the original one, the OG. I said to my friend, "How the heck is this little glass of water going to keep me hydrated the whole game?" I looked at the security guy. Do you expect me to like zip this the whole game like it's a good fine wine or something? Like, what are we supposed to do? Like,
the stadiums will rip you off.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, especially that one.
Yeah.
Always take the train in, never park there. Ever.
Yep, that's what I do too. I take the train up from Beacon, New York, and it's now easier to get to the stadium if you go from Beacon to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I was luckily there after they did the big renovation. So that was something. Not a Yankees fan at all, but boy, are those fans? They're harsh.
I've had to deal with
harsh fans.
I've had to deal with both sides of it.
Richard Holiday, I know him very well because he trained at like a school that's kind of close by to the one that I was at. And he's a very big Yankees fan and would just always bust me about how I did not like the Yankees. But he would spend whatever he wanted to go see them. And I'm like, all right, that's an expensive stadium, but sure. He's marketable, so I guess he makes all the money that he wants to see Yankees games when he needs to.
I remember we had, who do we have? Oh, we had the House of Pain on, and they were saying how they performed at Fenway Park.
Yes, I was there with them for Fenway. So they would have a festival once a year around like September or so. And one of the people who's associated with Bell Time Club, which is run by Bo Douglas, Channing Thomas came from Bell Time. Little Mean Kathleen came from Bell Time. Alec Price came from Bell Time as well, before maybe they moved on to Nepwa or something. So Bo Douglas and this guy named Dante would coordinate to get the ring into the Fenway Stadium. And the show would be like 16 matches long with like a rumble, because they needed to keep banging out these matches because all these people were still coming in for the festival. Like there were other things to do there. So that was a very long day. Rich Palladino would ring announce the entire day, the whole time. And Rich is also responsible for doing the bell and time. So, he really was like, I told him because I always had breaks in between, but he had to sit out there the whole time like Rich. Like if you need to run to the bathroom or something, I could take over for a moment. It's a very, very long show. Yeah, House of Pain was there. I actually did a match with Channing Thomas and Christian Casanova or Camilo on WWE right now on NXT before he got signed. And it was so funny because Channing Thomas, he told me that everyone's going to love me. They're going to cheer me. And he looked like a slob. And I'm like, no, I don't think that they're going to cheer you at all. And it's well, Casanova is a bad guy. They're totally going to boo him. And the exact opposite happened. He just steps out one step, Channing Thomas, from the entrance, and they just immediately started booing him. So
geez,
it was and I'm like, well, I mean, you're looking like a slob. He had he is from Massachusetts, but he had the Red Sox jersey on, but it looked like he was doing it in a way that sort of mocked all the fans there. So they just started booing him, and he's like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to be a bad guy today. That's how that works. So that was, no, I actually worked with Casanova, I think a couple times before he got signed. But yeah, that was that was very interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was, I sorely miss him. He was a really good talent to have in New England. Had that really nice scissor kick. But he's doing really well in NXT, so happy to see that. But yeah, that was a very long day. That's a very long day at Fenway.
Have you ever worked with Donovan Dijak or Chad Epic?
No, Chad, no. He would always be at the Rhode Island stuff whenever I was there, but I don't think we ever had. I would work with Stephen Lust and the other Steve who since changed his name a couple of times. Dijak, no, I did. I saw him when I was a fan. He wrestled at NEW that was held in Bethany, Connecticut. That's a hot crowd there, really hot. And he had a match with Taven, and there's this guy. His name is Dave Woods. I don't know. He's just a fan who everyone loves. And he would bring like these really nice elaborate signs with him. So he had a Taven sign that he had on like these wooden posts, and Dijak took it and ripped it and threw it into the crowd, and the post hit my glasses and cracked it. And I was just like, should I say something to him? Like, hey, actually, I like burnt my glasses. Like, can I get like some money for my glasses or something? So he could have took my eye out, but I guess my glasses saved my life that day. But no, I haven't. Anthony Green for sure. I worked for him when he did. Did any of you go up to 01 USA Northeast?
No.
That it only ran like a few shows, like in Massachusetts, but it's supposed to be like the 0-1 Japanese American.
Really? They had a Japanese. They had an American version of that because I heard
Yes,
the
yeah,
Japanese
it is
one.
like it is still a promotion, but they would like split it up into different chapters. So I think like the original one is in the Midwest area. Then they have one either south or out west, and then Anthony Green got the green light to do a Northeast chapter. So we would dress up. We had the full turnbuckle pads, the complete ones. One was blue and one was red. So you had opposite corners to start people off in. 20 counts of the outside. But that was really like the only difference there.
It's kind of like Ring of Honor.
It was fun. The first champion that was crowned there was Bear Bronson. So he was our first champion. Alex Reynolds worked there. Mark Sterling worked there. Josh Briggs worked there. Casanova worked there. Anthony, like all these, like, Ava Everett, of course, she worked there too. I love Ava. She'll be coming home soon from Germany, I think. Trying to think. They had like a pretty big run. Alec Price, oh my God. He had a match. And you go to Open, so of course you know how Alec Price is.
Yeah.
He like broke the chandelier when he was like practicing like these flips because he's like such a lanky guy, and he like kicked the chandelier and like a piece of glass like broke off. I'm like, well, I guess we're gonna bring the broom out, and like we had to delay like the show for a little bit where we're like sweeping that up. So Alec, watching him, so Belltime Club, the place I mentioned, Bo Douglas. Bo and Slick Wagner Brown were childhood friends from Boston. Mm. And when they first started training, they went to a Killer Kowalski school together. So Test of Strength, Slick Wagner Brown School and Belltime Club are kind of like brother-sister schools. And Alec was one of their first like students from that crop. And I remember like one of his first matches was this like Rumble thing, and he was like in the Final Four. And to see where he's gone now, especially like all he's doing in Limitless, is really amazing. I don't know if you saw the match with him and Drake at the end of Wrestleable. It was like the last match. Yeah. It was very good. Alec really went the distance with that show because there were like like Omicron was like starting, and like a lot of people canceled. And Alec like did basically like a match almost like on every show, and there were like 6 shows that whole weekend. So but he always like brings it 100%.
He's awesome. I've seen his.
I know. I'm so happy that he's doing well. I'm really, really happy for him. There's a lot of like talent coming up in that area that's like, good. Yeah, I'm happy. Like little Kathleen and Becca, the little ninjas from who would have known that these little ninjas would have grown up to be, you know.
Yeah, traveling.
Yeah,
interesting traveling.
Have you worked with Brian? Was it Brian Ryan Goslin? I think it is.
Brian. So the funny thing with him is that I think he came to Test of Strength to do like a few classes. So I just, did like some practice matches with him, but that's it though. Yeah, he seems like he's due. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's not. I'm sorry. I don't know the names too well, but he's looking like he's really exploding up. Is he a CAP student actually? No,
he's not. But some people said that you should definitely have him on the podcast because he's a good recommendation.
Yeah. Is he? He's like with Mac and Channing, right? In that group there.
I think he's in the New England area.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I think that we did train a few times. Yeah, he's a firecracker if it's who I think it is. But yeah, I do see like that, and he's seeming to do well. But yeah, like the newer, because like the past 2 years I've been here, and I only really go up north for like stuff like when they need me to. And it's like I feel like I'm missing out on like seeing all these people grow up. But now that I actually have like all these streaming capabilities, I can watch them do very well. So. It's very sentimental sometimes. Like even seeing Channing Thomas doing well on Wrestling Open, yeah. And then Alec Price took the Bone Storm Championship from Tennessee, and me being a future Tennessee tenant, I have to say something about that. So he's got to come down here and defend that Buy Me Bonestorm or Go to Hell title, because that's that doesn't sit right with me. I mean, Alec Price is great, but that's a Southern title. Come down. You got to defend it.
I've told him, I'm like, you need to come down to Long Island. There's some pretty belts you guys have to win. And he goes, ooh, I got to come to Long Island.
I love it. So he had a match with Adam Priest, who's an Alabama wrestler. He's a Bama wrestler. So very, very Southern. He doesn't have like a very thick accent but Alec does. And they had a match at the Kevin, that's what they called it, the super show that was at Restival. And they had like a back and forth where it was like they didn't know what the other one was saying, especially Alec. He's funny like that. But yeah, I mean, he could go anywhere. I believe, I'm trying to remember like what was like the last thing that he did that was like really major. But Alec is like getting booked everywhere, so yeah, good for him. But if you're listening, I remember you from when you did that Rumble and you had the orange bikers, and that was like your first set of gear or something. So it is nice. It's great to see people like do well.
There's a lot of wrestlers right now that are like, they're getting the name out there. And they think that nobody's watching, but like YouTube right now for the indie scene, if you're like from a different country, now you get a chance to see American. You know what I mean? Like there's people that we know that we've had on the podcast. We just had a German wrestler named La Katrina, and we told her about the VPW. She's like, I have to check it out. And now somebody in Germany is watching a Long Island wrestling promotion.
Yeah, Beyond especially has like test of strength when we put our matches out. Yeah, there's definitely lots of international presence. Intergender matches like do pretty well. Hopefully not for the nefarious reasons, but I mean, intergender matches, I like them a lot, and I feel like they should be spotlighted. And any match really should, but that especially. Beyond good. When they broke like years and years ago, like 1 million subscribers or something, maybe not 1 million, but it was like a really high number of subscribers. Like that was a huge deal. And that it kind of was like, I feel like Beyond is very good at pioneering things. Like that was a very big pinnacle for people monetizing from YouTube for wrestling shows. So yeah, I think YouTube is also a very good source as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know much about German promotions. Back in the day when we used to have like a Facebook group for referees, like during the pandemic, they had like a Q&A, and there was like a referee from Germany who came in and did a Q&A. That's all I know.
One of the shows that La Katrina did would be, I have to find the match again on message. I'll have to send it to you. The show, they did the entire right. They did entire
high school gym or something.
Like in the gym on the stage. So the ring was on the stage.
It's nice.
And the entrances were so elaborate, like La Katrina's. It was so eerie because the music was like, oh, and she had like her skull.
And there was like smoke coming out of the skull. It was
then spirits were rising from the grave.
Yeah. And like on the back wall were like these two, a man and a woman with skull makeup on, like.
When Ava, whenever she comes back, I do want to ask her a lot about what it was like wrestling in Germany, because I do see some things like pictures and photos, and yeah, they do seem to really, really invest in their production.
Yeah, the girl she faced was like the Candy Girl of the Power.
Candy Power.
Candy Power. That's what her name is. Candy Power.
Okay.
She was little and she's Candy. Her and what's her name would be a good team.
Well, you send me that match and I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, it was a good match.
That'll be new for me.
Yeah. Here's another promotion you got to check out. They're basically on an island, and Joe knows I'm going with this one.
Yes. They
stream their shows on Twitch. It's called Outcast Pro Wrestling.
Oh, okay. Like, Outcast.
Have you heard of them or?
No, I'm just like saying like it makes sense that they would call it Outcast if they're on an island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go.
And their promotion is actually, I watched it. Half their matches are like 5-star matches. They're actually that good.
That's cool.
And more people should know about them.
Where is this island?
Island of, was it Wright or something like that? Island of Wright?
Island of Wight in England. That's what it's called.
England. Okay.
Yeah. It's on a small island.
They're trying to get us to come there so bad. I'm like, I go there, I think I'll be like, you're the only Puerto Rican on this island, Joe. This is great.
It's not even tropical.
Yeah. It's not even. I'll be walking around going, yeah, Joe, you want some of this food? Of course.
Do I have any pets? I do. One cat made an appearance earlier. His name is Kimchi. And I have a fish. I have like so many fish. That's Ginger Baker. I name them all after drummers. Sometimes they die though. So that's it though.
The cats being drummers.
The cat's like normally he's actually like pretty good right now, but whenever I have like work meetings, yeah, he's like going. So
I heard him talking before.
Yep. He just yells like he's like food's never going to show up again.
He's like,
it will.
That's why the chat said hello, hey Kimchi. I was like, why did they say that?
I was like saying, are they bothering?
Yeah, he knows my cat personally, so he's just like saying, hey, Kimchi.
I wasn't trying to. I didn't know who Kimchi was. I'm like, who's Kimchi, right?
I didn't want to be like. I read that. I was like, oh no.
I had another cat named Wasabi, so like
somebody put a championship belt in there.
He's welcome on up. All right, thank you. That's quite the logo.
Yeah, I know.
I enjoy it.
So creative with these people now.
Sometimes it's something you see on TikTok with the mouth thing.
Yeah, why not? I wish I could. Mostly, like whenever I post like images, it's just like stills from The Simpsons, and then I just call it a day. That's really it.
Yeah, that's me.
So, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? Oh God. I eat like popcorn constantly, so this works out great. Yeah, I know. What a weird like thing to say. I enjoy popcorn.
Like the healthy popcorn?
No, I eat different foods. My dad, he worked on a cruise ship and was a chef, like, for his whole life. So he would always just like cook me good stuff. And he loves wrestling, so it works out. Yeah, I don't think I have a favorite. Do you have favorites?
Me? We like taco and pizza here in Gurk. I called him Gurk. Geek. Wow.
That's my new name. It's gonna be called Gurk now.
Yeah, you gotta change it. Sorry, you gotta keep it. You gotta keep it. Sorry.
Sometimes
until you win the original title, until the title back.
Yes.
Yeah, those are staple foods.
Yeah. I got 2 titles. You can't see the other one because it's covered by the logo.
Pasta and burgers for me. That's all I eat.
Yeah.
I'm half Puerto Rican, so I always go to rice and beans and the nice thing of Ben Neal.
Yeah, red beans are like I'll probably like you just inject it.
I would like. I like both. I like the red rice and bean with the beans, but I also like the white rice and with a river of beans just like around the white rice, just like
you'd be happy.
I'm carrying my plate like, please don't spill. Please don't spill. Don't trip on the dog. Don't trip on the dog. Yeah, that's me in my house. Please don't trip on the dog. This is not going to happen. Have you seen any good movies lately?
I saw the Batman.
Awesome.
I liked it.
Awesome.
It's weird because like I was kind of thinking about like how the Nolan trilogy was like such a big deal, and I didn't really watch it until Dark Knight, but then like death happened, and that's just like what kind of fortunately promoted the movie more. I think that's probably my favorite Bruce Wayne character in a movie. I would need to see another one to see if like he's going to be my favorite Batman though, because he's supposed to be like a pretty young in the Batman biz. So He was like kind of, making mistakes and whatever. But I thought that Robert Pattinson was a good choice when they originally announced it. I saw him in The Devil All the Time. And after I saw that movie, I'm like, yeah, he can basically do whatever he wants. And then The Lighthouse came out and that was freaking weird. So it's a weird movie. But yeah, that was a good one. I know you still have to see Spider-Man, so we won't
don't
comment on Spider-Man.
Don't spoil the ending for Joe at the end of Batman either.
He already told me, and then he said, "Oh, dude, you heard
Spoiler.
It's long. It's a very, very long movie.
That's what I told my dad wants to see it, and then somebody told my dad it was really long, and he goes, "Really? Oh." Like he went from "We're gonna see it, Rand. We're gonna see it, Joe. We're gonna see it," to it's like that. Me and the guy's like, like the hand, like
I
saw hours. It's a bit, but it goes by pretty quick. Actually, I didn't even notice like it was like that long until like, oh, okay, the sun's down. Like when I went outside or something. It's like that's like really it.
That's why I'm scared. I'll be watching the movie with my dad. He's just like, "But Dad, wake up."
My dad does that.
That was kind of like me because I saw the
does
movie
that
at like 9:30 at night, and it was over at like 1:00 in the morning. And
yeah.
Like, jeez.
Did you stay for the credits for that one? Okay. Yeah, I didn't either because I was just like, all right,
Okay,
it's 11. I gotta get up like the next day pretty early. Very worth it though. I like it a lot.
Great movie though. Anyway, should I say my WrestleMania story or should I think you
want to?
I think that's a good closer.
That's a good closer. Do you have a WrestleMania story of like?
I don't.
No, I think mine's a little more interesting though. But anyway, I'll shoot it away. So me and Joe went to WrestleMania together. This was like the first show we've been to in a long time. So show's over. Joe decides it's like, I think I'm gonna go.
Me and my dad are like,
we don't need to watch the fireworks. That's it. We're going.
Yeah.
And then he lets in. All right, we get on the train. All right, and then I'm heading back to New York to go back to Long Island. And the thing is, it's like I look at the train time and I'm like, to go back to Long Island. I'm like, okay, we're fine. I looked at Penn and I'm like, shit. The next train's not till 3 a.m.
Wait, when did you leave the stadium though? Do you remember?
It must have been 1. It must have been 1:00.
Oh, okay, all right.
And it was like 1:30 was like the last train or something. And we must have just missed it. And I'm like, what do we do? All right, let's go eat pizza in Penn Station. And we just sat there.
There's nothing else you can do. I did that once where I missed a last train from Manhattan at Grand Central back to Connecticut. It had to like wait out in some deli until like 6 a.m. the next day. It was miserable.
What time do you get home?
It's probably about, I think the worst travel story, maybe this might be a good one to end on. So I was in Philadelphia recently, but unfortunately I couldn't make it to the show because the snow was like, it was a pretty bad storm. And I was flying back. This was a few weeks ago. I was supposed to be leaving at like 9:50 or something at night. Get back here at, I don't know, like 12 something, but it was also daylight savings. We got to get rid of that. It's like, it's a spawn of the devil. And it was weird because like they kept delaying it, but they wouldn't flat out cancel it. Cause I was like, oh, I could just, stay at my friend's house. Cause she said I could just, she could pick me up whenever she wanted to, if I had to stay. She wasn't too far away, but they kept like delaying it. Long story short, it didn't get the plane to bring us home didn't get until 4 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
And on top of that, it was spring break. So there was like this whole sea of high schoolers. Some of them were kind of losing it because I think they got there earlier than I did. So the plane gets into the gate and we're like, yeah, we could go on, but no, we have to wait for the pilot to show up. So we had to wait for the pilot, and then we had to wait for a flight attendant because they had to switch out. Then someone in the crowd had to go to the hospital, and we had to like wait for the ambulance to come to get clearance to bring them on. We get on the plane. We don't leave until 6 a.m. because there's an issue with the paperwork and whatever. We take the flight, we land, and we have to wait at the gate another half hour because the little thingy is broken, the bridge from the door to the inside. So that was a 12-hour endeavor. I did not get home until like 10:30 in the morning. I was very tired. But yeah, that's like the worst traveling story. Go on to close up.
If we want to wrap it up, we're just like, do you have any upcoming shows?
Yes, I have WWN that's going to be in Port Richey, Florida. Then in March 6th, I will be at Action, that is in Tyrone, Georgia. Anthony Henry just got announced to be on that show, so that'll be streaming live on IWTV. Then we're going to be going to Uncharted Territory. That's going to be out of Red Bank near Chattanooga, Tennessee on the 9th, which is Monday, and that's the premiere. I forgot what time. I'm sorry if you're watching and I'm getting the time wrong. It's either 7:30 or 8. The announcement just came out for like the opening match, which is Jaden Newman against Alex Kane. So it's if you are interested in looking at Southern wrestling, I'm also getting acquainted to it as well. If you have IWTV, $10 a month, you could. That's $5, but together is 10. Then you can watch that. So yeah. We worked it out. So yep, that's what I got. Thank you for asking.
And social media is also.
Yeah, that's my social media. I'm not very active on Instagram, but I'll try to be. And my Twitter is kind of abysmal because I kind of like post like Simpsons memes, but you get the idea. I'm much more active on there and you joke around with people. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. And happy to hear that Victory Pro is doing well.
Yeah.
Johnny's cool. I like him. So.
Yeah, Johnny's a cool guy.
Yes.
But anyway, we want to thank you so much for coming to the podcast. You've been awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
You know?
Lots of fun.
Thank you. I hope, in the future, when you go to WrestleMania, you don't have to wait till 4 a.m.
Oh, there's more travel stories, but
if I'm with you in California, I'm walking like the child carrying Woody down the street. You'll have me dragging a tall, skinny guy with it down the street. So, ow, I could take the bus. No, we're walking.
Yeah, you bring wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Wheelbarrow.
All right.
There's more travel stories, but I don't think we have time for them.
Okay.
I'm Joe Panther the Third.
I'm Metal Geek.
I'm Gina.
And we will see you in the next one.